Yo, how's it going, everyone? As you can hear, my voice is still bad, so there won't be any stream tonight. Sorry about that, but I'm just not in the best place. And as you saw in my previous stream, and if you actually joined me over at Puerto Rocks, my cough got really bad, and it happens when I'm talking for a long duration, and it just flares up out of nowhere anyway. I'm getting better, so next week we should be back to normal. So this week is just going to be a bust. I might stream on the weekend, but that's that. But we do have some news. We have Kadokawa news, Oblivion news. So I thought I'd make a video quickly to, get that information out there, get my thoughts on it and what I think. We also have a new Xbox advert, which we're going to be taking a look at. I think it's pretty awesome, but it kind of also underlines, I should say, where Xbox is at in regards to those people that want a console. But you know what? Let's get into it. Let's have the drop. Alright, so apparently the rumored Oblivion Remake, now I've been thinking about retrying this game because I really didn't like it back in the day, but they're doing a remake. It's going to be releasing in 2025 apparently, and it could make an appearance in a developer direct in January, and maybe actually shadow dropped at some point. Now, the Oblivion Remake has been spoken about for quite some time, and it's no surprise that it's rearing its head, especially coming to January, because that's when we do get our developer direct. Now, there has been a lot of people out there that have been kind of releasing fake images of what they think will be at the developer direct, and people have been kind of taking that as gospel. Do not, because, they make it perfectly clear when they ask the question, what would you like for there to be at the developers direct? But if Oblivion Remake does make an appearance, I'm hoping that it is going to wow the world. Now, the big question that everyone will probably be asking, and I'm going to put it out there right now, will it be day and date on PlayStation? I assume so. That's my guess. I reckon it will be. But time will tell. And this is what I was talking about here. The Developer Direct 2025, what would you like to see? So people have just put their Doom, whatever this is, Double Fine Productions, South of Midnight, Contraband, which we've not really heard anything of. The Outer Worlds 2, that's going to be an interesting one if they decide to get into the nitty gritty. None of this is actually real. None of this is actually 100%, informative. It's just, and as he says here, it's a mock-up. So, we'll see where this goes. Obviously, they have a developer direct every year, so this one should be interesting nonetheless. Hopefully we'll get some good games and we'll see what's coming through the year, and hopefully it will be spaced out in a way where we get games not all piled on at the end of the year, but kind of spread out throughout the year for us to enjoy. Now, a lot of talk has been going around about Xbox sales and how Call of Duty didn't help the Xbox sales in any way. It did help Game Pass, but not the Xbox sales. And you've got Matt Piscatella here going through his usual blurb of information, and obviously people are jumping on this and, kind of saying, oh, look, Call of Duty didn't even help sell an Xbox. Well, no, it's not, for two reasons. Number one, the marketing for Call of Duty on Xbox branded consoles was very minimal to almost non-existent. They were very careful because they said during the FTC trial that they wouldn't use it to their advantage, and they made a legal, precedent agreement on that in court. Secondly, the game isn't exclusive. If Call of Duty was exclusive, you would have seen millions of Series X's selling, because that would have been the only place to play it. But obviously, because it's available on PC, PlayStation, why would anyone pay $470 plus to play it? Like, realistically thinking, who in their right mind is going to do that for one single game? You are not. And with the way that the deal was done during the FTC, that killed all momentum of this game helping to shift consoles. It's really that simple. And the fact that they couldn't market it the way they wanted to, their marketing was good, but they couldn't market it the way they wanted to. That also killed momentum. So trying to use that as a gotcha moment probably isn't the best thing you should be looking at. But here we have the Xbox Series XS of games to play, Power Your Dreams. And I thought we'd go through it. I'm going to mute it. But this is actually sending a clear message to those people out there that are still on the kind of, well, is Xbox dead? Is Xbox releasing a console? Are they going to continue releasing consoles? And what this tells me, and is doubling down, is that Whether we're looking at it now, or the next gen, or the next gen after that, there will always be a console for those people that want it. Now, obviously, they are making it so you can play your games anywhere: PC, cloud, mobile, tablet, browser, handheld PCs, your Xbox console. Until they actually release everything day and date on other platforms, I'm going to ignore them because those are just a case by case. But, they are completely opening the reach. And that this is an Xbox ad goes in nicely with this, because it's essentially just telling you that, this is basically where it's at. This is an Xbox. You can play it on all of these things, but there will always be a console for those console enthusiasts to play it, at least for the next generation and possibly the generation after. Where they will go when, the cloud infrastructure around the world actually gets to a proper place, because, I used to have a gigabit internet, and I used to tell people cloud is amazing and all this, and it is. I loved it. Using GeForce Now, xCloud, it was great. I had no problems. But coming back to pleb internet in this temporary accommodation that I'm living in, I can tell you the experience isn't as good. It's okay, but it's not as good. It's not something that I could stream with. It's not something that I could play comfortable with. Whereas in my previous place with a gigabit internet, I was actually streaming through GeForce Now many, many times and no one even noticed. Just to give you a rough idea, right? So I think in that regard, that is where Microsoft is right now with all of this. But this ad over here just reiterates, this is the home of everything Xbox. And the ecosystem is there regardless of where you want to jump in. And if you want to get the best out of Xbox, that's where you go. At least for the time being. Okay, so we have this over here from Yoshimi Yasuda. We are proud to have broken the 12-year silence and brought Lollipop Chainsaw back to life as a modern action game in 2024. We are also grateful to the many game users who have encouraged us, and we cannot thank you enough. We have unconventional updates planned for 2025, so please look forward to them. They've already added like a bunch of skins and stuff. They've retouched the graphics up even more, fixed loads of bugs that were there. This dude and his team has been doing wonders for Lollipop Chainsaw. If you haven't bought it, it's available everywhere on every format. Go check it out. It's a fun game, and it's in a much better place now than it was at launch, but really, really good game, and there seems to be more content coming in the new year. So great stuff, and I wish more developers would be like this. Okay, now we come to the big news, and that is, of course, Kadokawa agree to form strategic capital and business alliance. So James over here, he's probably having a nervous breakdown, he's having a meltdown, and now he's having to, change his way, because previously it was get the deal done. We've seen others say it as well in there. It's a done deal, everything is exclusive, we've got this. And now it's, I suppose it's true, Sony was simply there to help a friend. No, it wasn't. Sony wanted to buy out individual parts of the company. They all know this. They are salty as fruit about it. And now they're trying to move those goalposts and try to actually rebrand what they were feeling. Of course, they have to add that Xbox console is still dead, just to give themselves the ego boost. The fact that they even have to even talk about Xbox in this time like this is crazy. It's crazy. Because they know that they got bamboozled. They know that Sony couldn't afford it. And the only way for them to make themselves feel better is for them to say Xbox console is dead. James, I hope you're feeling alright, man. I hope this hasn't mentally broken you in ways where you're no longer going to be able to reach out to the outside world and actually see people for, the real world for what it is. But I hope you're hanging in there, dude. And of course, this is where it gets official. Sony purchased 10% of the shares. They are the majority shareholder, but that doesn't really mean anything. They own 10%. Kadokawa, I think, own about 8%. Tencent owns about 7%. And then the rest is shared among everyone else. Now, the likelihood of Sony having a real pushing decision enablement here is extremely rare. Where that would actually come in is where, let's say, 41% of the votes turned around and said, yes, we are for this. And then Sony comes in and says, hey, right, we can actually push that to 51%, and then they can put their terms on the table. They do have that weighing power, but it's only 10%. The chances of that ever actually mattering in a real-world scenario are very slim. But they aren't going to purchase any more shares for the time being. They are happy with where they're at. So the whole acquisition deal became, I guess, another cloner loan, like they did with Bungie. Maybe they couldn't afford it, what they were asking for. Who knows? But either way, the acquisition is not happening. And regardless of how you want to picture it, it is what it is. Now, William R. Arguilla here, he's been posting about it. Now, Sony do own 14% from Software. Again, not a huge stake, but it is a decent chunk. Now, if they own like 35% of Kadokawa and 35% of From Software, that would be big talk, right? You've got real sway at that point. But 10 full 15%, you've still got a bit of sway, but only in the right situations. Now you come to this last part, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And this, as you read here, sorry, you've probably seen the shift because I edited it. This will also result in more PlayStation exclusive games from Software, even if not all are. That makes literally no sense. Now that scenario that I gave earlier with the 41% and then they coming in with that 10%, that could probably add the conditions that will only support you, friend, and not ruin you if you make it PlayStation exclusive. So, are they actually a friend, or are they actually there to do business? Clearly everyone knows they're there to do business. But is this actually going to result in more PlayStation exclusives? I don't see that happening anytime, anywhere. I think this guy is completely and utterly 100% wrong. But time will tell on how this develops. But that's a reach. That is a reach. I would say actually that is more of a reach than those Sony fanboys that were saying that the PS5 Pro is better than the 4090 and makes the 4090 look like crap. So take that as you will. But in the end, that's it. I mean, it's just they've bought some shares and they are now the majority shareholder. It sounds cool, but they only got 10%. Now, to put this in actual contrast of what it actually means, look at the Game Awards. The judges, the panel, have 90% of the vote. Do you honestly believe that your 10% has much? I mean, in this case, at least it's consolidated into 10%, so it could go to somewhere, so it has a little more sway. But you get what I'm trying to say, right? You get what I'm trying to say. But ultimately, that is where we are. We've got some cool announcements hopefully coming in the new year. We should be getting more information about the Developer Direct very soon. And hopefully, we'll have another year with nice, evenly spaced out games throughout the rest of the year for Xbox. And we'll be enjoying them all day one on Game Pass. And that, for me, is the most important thing. It saves me money. A lot of money. So, hope you're having a good week. Sorry again for no stream today. I will see you all in the next one. Remain legend.